How are you doing today? What's going on?
I am fantastic. This is so cool. This is so cool. Like the listeners can see, what our environments are like. I think it's fantastic.
It's wonderful, and we want to welcome all of you guys. We had more than 120 people registered for today's webinar, and we're so excited that you guys came out to see us on this webinar today and to learn about the top 5 mistakes that IELTS test takers make. Jessica, we're going to talk about that today. Lots of mistakes, right? We want to avoid them as much as we can.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, like almost all of these mistakes can be summarized by just, approach your preparation calmly, and cleverly. You want to, like, our listeners, you guys that are in this webinar right now, you're smart people, right? So how you have to approach your preparation. So get to know the test, learn what you have to do to pass it, and work hard. Don't waste your time. So
Totally.
that sort of summarizes our message for today.
Absolutely. Don't panic. And I think another piece of that, Jessica, that we should start off with today is keep the dream in mind, right? Keep in mind what you want to do with your IELTS score, right? What do you want to do? Do you want to attend medical school somewhere? Do you want to become a lawyer? I know that you guys have fantastic dreams, and we've talked to you guys by email. So keep that in mind when you're going to your desk every day and you're preparing, right? Jessica, what do you think about that?
Yeah. So that not only does that keep you motivated, it gives you a reason to study, a reason to learn, which is the most important part of doing this. But guys, also, it helps you in your part 1 answers if you have some interesting things to say about your goals, okay? Like, a common part 1 question would be, do you work or are you a student? Right? And so some people are just like, yes, I study English. And that's it. So if you're able to answer that with, well, right now I'm studying English because in the future I want to be a lawyer to help a certain population in my country, or, that'll help your score because you're talking more, but it also tells the examiner like, oh, like this is an adult, like this is a motivated person.
Yeah, I like that, Jessica. I mean, the idea of always staying connected to that dream, even when we're in the speaking test, literally can reduce some stress for us. Because I know that when I talk about my dreams, I forget about my stress or anxiety, and I go straight to the excitement, like the vision of a life, right, that I want. And so I know that you guys can do that too. Right, Jessica?
Totally.
I think so.
Yeah. If you're we talk a lot about the pronunciation and how to do well on the speaking exam like that. And talking about things you're actually excited about is like the easiest way to have emotion in your voice, right?
Totally. Exactly. That's it. And so on that note, Jessica, why don't we get started? Let's jump into it. Jessica, are you able to see my screen right now?
I can. It says webinar with Lindsay and Jessica.
Oh my gosh, what a surprise. It's with Lindsay and Jessica. And I know that
they're so cool. I've heard great things about Lindsay and Jessica. I'm just saying.
I think we're a pretty fun pair, and we have a good time, and we have a few smart things to say here and there once in a while.
All the time, constantly.
Yeah, let's get it. So guys, I hope that you can see my screen. If you're not able to see my screen right now, send me an email at lindsay@allearsenglish.com and we'll fix something. But we're going to assume that you can see the screen and that you can follow the presentation, okay? So Jessica, let's jump into it. I'm going to move on to the next slide. So again, we know that we're here with Lindsay and Jessica. And Jessica, you've been in the IELTS field for 10 years. Is that right? That's a long time.
Yeah, over 10 years now. So mostly in Taiwan. I taught IELTS test preparation classes for a long time. I've been involved professionally with both the British Council and IDP doing those are the people that design the test. doing various projects for them. And I've also written test preparation textbooks. So thinking about strategies and preparation, that's my life. That's what I do.
So IELTS is your life in one sense, or professional life in many ways. And that's fantastic. I have a lot of confidence in the knowledge that you have in this exam. And, it's really great to work with a true professional who has such a specific skill. So you have a lot of wisdom to show us today and moving forward. So thank you for that. And you guys know me. I'm Lindsay, the founder of All Ears English. And I've been in the ESL field for about 10 years now also, but doing some general English. I've taught in Japan, in Latin America, and in New York City. So that's us. You guys know us because you're on the podcast every day. So we can move on. Are you ready, Jessica?
I'm so ready. I was born ready.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, then me too. In that case, guys, this is what we're going to do today. Here we go. So we're going to give you what you came here for. Don't worry. We're going to give you the top 5 mistakes that IELTS test takers make. And they're big mistakes that can bring your score down. But because you're here today, you're going to know how to fix those mistakes now and not make them. Of course, we're going to show you how to fix them if you are making them or if you have made them in the past. And then you're going to get an invitation to join us to get on the right path to success, guys.
Woo-hoo!
It's really, yeah, Jessica, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, we've developed a course. We've developed materials that share with you all the systems that I've developed and all of my years of test experience to tell you guys exactly what it takes to get that 7 or higher on the IELTS exam. So you've listened to a lot of our advice on the podcast, of course, but I think the guidance and the specific lessons and the materials practice and the 2 practice tests really just make this course so strong, so worthwhile.
Absolutely. And we're going to give you guys plenty of information about that at the end. And guys, once we get through that, we're going to take your questions and give you answers. So you're going to be able to send your questions to lindsay@allearsenglish.com. And we're going to spend a few minutes answering as many questions as we possibly can because we appreciate that you guys are here. I mean, we know that it may be 3 o'clock in the morning in your country and you've taken the time to get up and hang out with us today. And we appreciate that. And also, once we get to the end of the webinar, for those of you who stick around until the end, you're going to be given a special link to claim a gift, a free gift for you that's going to help you on the IELTS exam. But you only get it if you hang around until the end. So get a cup of coffee and get ready to hang out with us for we'll probably be on the webinar for about an hour, okay? So Jessica, are you ready to dive into it?
I'm so ready. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So here we go. Let's get right into it. These top 5 mistakes. Jessica, take it away. It's all yours.
All right, guys. So I broke this down by a central mistake for each section of the test, just to give you, an overall to cover that whole test. What are some things that you have to be careful of? So on the listening test, that's going to be your first test of the day. The biggest mistake students make is being antsy. That's a slangy, idiomatic adjective there. Antsy, being impatient, right? That comes from being nervous. So I'm going to tell you how that hurts your score on the listening test and how to solve that problem. Okay. And then reading. Where do we waste time on the test? Students are always asking how much time to spend. How do I finish this in 60 minutes? So we're going to talk about time there. And then for writing, we've addressed this in some podcasts actually and given you guys examples. And I'm going to get into more detail about why being too general on the writing test can hurt your score. And again, how to fix that. And then speaking, and this seems silly, but guys, if you try too hard, I promise it hurts your score, so yeah, if we're a little bit relaxed in the listening and the reading and the writing and the speaking, it's gonna help your score go a long way towards improvement. And then finally, guys, that 5th mistake there, just overall, what is the most common mistakes students make when they're preparing for the test. Again, just don't waste your time, guys. That's the central message there. So yeah, so let's get into it. Let's go to number 1.
Good. Let's do it. And I think that number 5, Jessica, is going to be super important. So guys, be sure to stick around because it's really about how you prepare that creates your score, right, Jessica? So, all right, let's dive into it. So here's number 1, listening.
Okay, guys. So the rookie mistake here is when students are so nervous and they're so worried about missing an answer that they just write down the first answer they hear. Okay. So be aware, guys, IELTS loves to trick you. Look at that example underneath there. Okay. So a conversation you might hear on the listening test. One person would say, "What time does the exhibition start?" And then the other person would say, "I think it begins at 4. Oh, no, wait, the invitation says 3:30 actually." So that's an example, guys, where a student would hear that and then write down 4 p.m. or circle 4 p.m. right away and then jump to the next question. So just be patient, guys, okay? The answers are always next to the keywords. Yes, they're always next to the keywords, but IELTS does love to trick you. So listen for distractors or tricks, especially listen for negatives. If you hear a no, but, however, then most likely, guys, that first answer is not the right answer, okay? They're going to give you the correct answer. So just, be patient. And this comes with practice, guys. This comes with doing a lot of test practice. So you get used to those tricks, okay? Also, here's a big thing you could do to help yourself. When you're doing IELTS test practice, make sure that after you do the listening test to go in and read the audio scripts, read the transcripts, because IELTS does the same tricks all the time, okay? And if you get used to those tricks, then you're not going to be caught out on the exam, okay? You're going to be familiar with the format and the way IELTS does their tests. So the moral of the story here, guys, is to be patient, right? And it comes in your practice. So do test practice and read those audio scripts so you can see the tricks that IELTS tries to pull.
Ooh, I like that, Jessica. That's fantastic. And it's interesting, the idea that we can actually figure out what those tricks are. I mean, they don't have to be so scary if we practice, if we put in our practice time.
Exactly. So, I mean, guys, like we said before, I've been doing this for 10 years. So I cannot even count, oh gosh, over 10 years now, but I cannot even count the number of listening exams that I have listened to myself. Okay. I have heard these same tricks, these same, little IELTS distractor tricks. I have heard these same tricks so many times that I can tell you exactly what kind of tricks to expect on the exam. And this using a negative in there and changing the answer, this is a classic, guys. And you're probably going to hear one, if not, more of these type of tricks on the exam.
And I think that on a podcast episode, Jessica, one of the people in our course actually asked us when he should start practicing under test conditions. And we had talked about starting to practice a little bit later, right? Once we learn our strategies. Is that right?
Exactly. So the first step is what we're doing now, learning from an IELTS professional. Practicing the systems, learning the strategies, learning these testing skills that you need to pass the test, and also strengthening your overall English ability, right? That's what we're doing now, okay? When you get closer to the test, when you feel like you are comfortable with these strategies, you understand what the test wants, that's when you start timing yourself and getting that more real test practice under pressure.
Okay, I like that. But the important thing is to remember that a good study plan includes both, right? The test practice and also the strategies and the general fluency building. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow,
We One more thing. There was a question from a student that we saw just today saying, like, how can I've done all of the Cambridge practice test books and I still can't improve my score. Well, just doing the test over and over is not going to improve your listening score, okay? You also have to improve your overall listening ability with podcasts, with movies, with fun stuff, basically, not just the tests.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to figure out different resources and dig into those. Okay, Jessica, are you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. Reading. What is that mistake?
Oh, it still says listening on my screen.
Oh,
there we go.
In that
All
case.
Right. I got it. Okay, reading. All right, so the rookie mistake here, guys, is when students absolutely did not prepare for this test at all, and they think they could go in and read every word in the passage, and then they could answer the questions. Okay, guys, that is impossible, even for a native speaker. Impossible. There is not time to read every word and answer all 40 questions. I mean, think about it, okay? You have 1 hour, right? You have 3 passages. Each passage is between 600 to 900 words, maybe as high as 1,200, rarely, but it does happen. So on average, the passages are 750 words long on average, okay? Plus, you have 40 questions to answer. You don't have time to read every word. So that's the first mistake. In order to not do that and finish the test, you have to learn these reading strategies for saving your time. Okay. For example, as far as practicing your timing goes, you should spend about 1 minute to skim the passage. That means get an overall idea of what the passage is telling you. And you always do that first, okay? Don't look at the questions first. Look at the passage first. And then when you do look at the questions, you already understand what they're talking about, that also saves time because you're not trying to guess and wasting time not understanding. So 1 minute to skim the passage, and then give yourself a minute to a minute and a half per question. All right. And again, like I've done this myself. I've practiced this on many tests. This is what works. And keep in mind, if you are spending more than a minute looking for an answer, skip that question. All right. Don't waste your time on the 2 or 3 impossibly difficult questions. All right. If you're spending more than a minute and you're getting frustrated, you cannot find this answer in the passage, just skip it. Go to the next question. If you have time, you can come back to it later. All right. A lot of the strategies and the systems that we teach for the reading test, it's all about managing your time. Okay. So that's why this is so important. These strategies, there are basic steps for every passage and every question type, but there are some questions that are harder than others. All right. So for example, the yes, no, not given, true, false, not given. I know that is the hardest question for our students. And honestly, you should take a little longer to answer those. Okay. Because they can be more difficult. So there's a lot to think about here, guys. That's why planning your preparation is so important. You have to learn this information. You have to practice these steps, practice these strategies. And then when you're comfortable, skimming in a minute, finding the answers, then you start timing yourself on a real reading practice test.
Ooh, I like that, Jessica. I mean, it's true, right? There's a real danger in just looking for tips and tricks, whether it's for reading or whether it's for speaking, because the tips
Yeah.
and tricks are great. We just had a listener ask us for some tips and tricks, and we are here today to give you guys a few little tips and tricks. But guys, don't make a mistake. Don't make the mistake of thinking that little tips and tricks like this are going to get you the score you need. As Jessica just explained, there's a real process to preparing for this exam. This is not an easy exam.
Yeah, guys, you may have heard me say this before, that even if when native speakers take this exam, they do not get the highest scores, okay? Having good English is not the only thing you have to have in order to do well on this test. I wish there were a magic key I could give you and just like give you one, activity and like, boom, there's your ticket. There's, your 8 on IELTS. But it is a complicated test, and you do need to practice these simple strategies. I do have simple systems to teach you, but you do have to practice them and get comfortable with them. And it does take time. It does take effort on your part.
Exactly. I think that's really well put, Jessica. So guys, the podcast and this webinar are a good starting point for you. And then you need to know some ways to go a little bit deeper, which we're going to talk about a bit later. But let's move on, Jessica. Are you ready for the next section?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Might be a little bit of a delay here. Are you seeing on my screen the writing test?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we'll just twiddle our thumbs here and we'll get there too.
I know the material well enough.
You know the material. I wonder if our listeners can see it yet. Can you see it?
I can see it. I can see it now. Okay. Oh my gosh. If I look at, 20 IELTS essays, and it could be from any country in the world, this is not necessarily a cultural misunderstanding in the writing, okay? I see this from students all the time because it is easier to talk about things in a general, broad way than it is to be specific. Okay. If you're going to be specific, it requires you to think of more ideas. Okay. So I understand why students do this, but let me tell you why you can't do this on the exam. All right. If on the writing test, I'm talking about task 2 now, guys, task 2, if you give just general sentences and ideas, and you tend to repeat those general ideas in different words. Let me give you an example of something I see on the exam all the time, all right? So the paragraph would say something like, there are many reasons why traveling abroad is beneficial. Traveling abroad is really good for you. When people travel, it's a positive thing. Okay, so like I said the same exact thing there in 3 different ways. That's big mistake. Okay, first of all, you lose points on task response, because you don't show me specific support for your main ideas. If your main idea is traveling abroad is good, you have to give me specific reasons why. Okay. It improves your language ability. It helps in your cultural understanding, which can lead to more international work. Specifics. Also, you lose points on vocabulary. If you're not precise, if you're not specific, that means you're not showing the examiner you have a range. You have a lot of words you can use. That's what the examiner looks for. Okay, these specific, your ability to show me exactly what you mean. Okay, so giving me details and specific examples, it gets you a better score in task response and vocabulary. And honestly, it's more fun for the examiner to read. Okay. So like if I'm reading an essay and it's so boring, I can't even concentrate and I have to go back and read it again. That's kind of frustrating. So Like give the examiner some interesting stuff to read, guys. I promise it'll help your score. Okay, so here's an example of some vocabulary, some specific vocabulary you could use. So the word school, right? Very general, obviously. Be more specific. Is it high school? Is it secondary school? Are you talking about a class like biology class, or maybe an activity, a psychology lecture? This is vocabulary that's way more specific, right? And so it's going to get you a better score. How can you think of what to say? I also get that question all the time. It's not enough just to say, okay, give me details and examples. What are they? Think of the question words, guys. Who, what, where, when, why, how. So let's do an example here. A question that I've seen on the exam before. Should we learn more life skills in public education or in high school? So you could say high school should teach more life skills. Who should teach it? Well, experts from the real world should come into classrooms and share their experience. Give students an idea of the fields they might study in the future, or, you know, careers that they could be interested in or explore. Where students should go into the real world. They should go into a factory or an office environment and learn the dynamics of those places. So just in that short example I gave you, the vocabulary was higher level, it was specific, and I gave you really, really good, strong ideas. So that's what we're looking for in writing task 2.
Very nice, Jessica. Thank you for that. That's important. And we know that the writing test is a big challenge for our listeners. So that's an area where you guys are going to want to really focus, but focus in the right way, knowing what the examiner wants and knowing what these mistakes are that you're likely to make. So Jessica, I'm going to make the screen a little easier to see here because some of our listeners have said that it's hard for them to actually see the screen. I wonder if that's better. I guess it probably is. Can you see that change?
It's the same size for me.
Yeah, it's going to take just a minute to change. Let's wait just a second. So, all right. So what have we done so far, Jessica? Just to recap, we've done the writing. Yeah.
So listening, guys, don't be impatient. You need to improve your overall listening ability, but you also need to be familiar with the test. So do practice tests, read the audio scripts, learn those IELTS tricks that they like to throw at you. Because sometimes I swear IELTS does not want you to get a good score. Like, they're not nice. So learn those tricks that IELTS throws at you. And then for reading, guys, the timing is important. You must become familiar with the skills you need to pass the reading test, and also how much time you should spend on different question types. You need a system, and to practice the system over and over again. So by the time you get to the test, you are comfortable, you know exactly what to do. You know, as soon as you open that test, you're not wasting any time. You take 1 minute to skim, you go directly to the questions, you know, underline keywords, find those in the text. Like this, these are the strategies that you have to practice quite a few times to become comfortable with them. And then for writing, guys, give me specific as possible details and examples to support your ideas. So practice that too, right? Just practice brainstorming details and examples for different topics or practice test questions. Also, in order to get more ideas, read the newspaper, right? I mean, put more ideas in your head.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about creating a culture of thinking, right, Jessica, a few weeks ago. And the way to do that is just to get exposure to different ideas, different types of media, different podcasts, TV shows, and newspapers. So you have something to say, or you have things to contribute. Yeah, good.
Exactly. Are we ready to move on to the next slide?
We are. Can you see the slide now? It should be a little bit bigger. Can you see it?
Mine is the same size, and it's on the first slide.
It's on the first slide. That's weird. Okay, let's see.
Bear with us, guys. Bear with
Okay.
us.
It
There we go.
shouldn't
Now
be
I
on the
see
first
writing.
slide.
There we go. All right.
Can you see?
Speaking. Yep.
Oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay, you can see it now?
All right. Yeah.
Okay, but let's hold on, Jessica, hold on one second, because some people have told us that they can't see it very clearly. So I wanted to see if we could. Let me try this again. Can you
Okay.
see it now? It should be. I've just done it as a presentation, so it should be more clear.
It's the same for me.
Okay.
But I can while you fix the technical side of things, Lindsay, I could start talking about the next point for our students, because I know that all of our time is precious, guys. So one of our
Absolutely.
main messages, right, in your preparation, like, don't waste your time. So
Don't waste your time. That's right.
yeah.
Okay, Jessica, go for it. Go ahead. Let's do it. Speaking, what's the mistake?
Yeah, so it's trying too hard. And I know it's hard to understand, because it's like, how do I try too hard on the speaking test? Well, what happens, guys, is if you try too hard, it means you are too much in your head, and you're nervous and you're anxious, and that comes through in your speaking, and it comes through quite strongly, I mean, just imagine, guys, if you are around another person, okay, and that person is very nervous, do you also feel a little nervous? Like, does that affect you? Of course it does. Of course it does. So one of the main ways that this will hurt your score is it keeps you from being relaxed, and it turns your pronunciation into a very nervous robot. I've seen, okay, I'll tell you guys a story, because this happens a lot. I'm, maybe it's practice, maybe it's an exam with a candidate, and they're like sitting up straight, and they talk like this. Yes, I believe that is good. And like, their pronunciation is horrible. And then as soon as the test is finished, their voice completely changes. And they're like, hey, so how was that? What'd you think? I mean, like,
That's funny.
Yeah, I've seen it happen so many times. So guys, just find a way to help yourself relax before you go in there. What is going to happen is, on the speaking test day, you're probably going to be shown to the room, and you have to sit in a chair by yourself outside the room for a couple minutes and wait for the examiner to come get you. Use those couple minutes. One of the big strengths of our course is we have an anti-anxiety, anti-panic plan that gives you guys some tricks for how to relax on different parts of the exam. So my advice here, guys, is to just take some deep breaths, okay? And just kind of meditate. Just do something that helps you relax in those couple minutes before the exam starts. Okay. So another way that trying too hard can hurt your score is you end up using very formal, very awkward vocabulary in the whole test. It's another, I picture a student just sitting up super straight and with their hands clasped tightly in their lap and just so nervous, cannot smile. And they're convinced that they have to use this like crazy formal vocabulary the whole time. And it's weird. It's weird. We don't talk like that. So, okay, like a part one question might be, do you enjoy watching movies? A weird, awkward answer would be, I am of the opinion that the cinema is extremely beneficial. Yeah, that's not normal. We don't talk like that. That hurts your score. Okay. Keep in mind, guys, in order to get a 7 or higher for vocabulary, you have to show a range. That means formal vocabulary and informal vocabulary, slang, idioms. You have to show a range. So how can we help ourselves? First of all, listen to our podcast where we talk about idioms. Okay. We've given you guys some super awesome words and phrases you guys could impress the examiner with. I know, like, personally, if I'm talking to a student, I don't expect that student to know idioms. I don't expect the student to know slang. So if they do, I am just like impressed right away, you know, just like, what? They know how to say that? Like, that's awesome. So idioms and slang, guys, one of the easiest ways to impress the examiner. And okay, like I talked about at first, just imagine your own experiences, guys. If you are sitting next to a relaxed person, do you also feel relaxed? If you're sitting next to a super scared, awkward, you know, biting their nails person, do you also feel nervous? Yes. So if you can approach this in a relaxed and confident way, the examiner can feel that, okay? And it can positively affect your score.
Ooh, I like that, Jessica. It's really interesting how the energy that we put out there can be contagious sometimes, right? And that's so important in the speaking test when we need that little edge to be able to move forward and push our score higher, because it could make a big difference when it comes to the overall band score.
Exactly.
Oh.
So yeah, find some breathing methods, find some little tricks that you guys could use to relax yourself.
Yeah, that's right. We have to know ourselves and know what helps us to relax. But guys, absolutely. All right, cool. Thank you, Jessica, for going through those 4 super important mistakes. And we hope that if you guys have made these mistakes before, or you're about to make them on your exam, that you will correct course now and avoid those mistakes as much as you can. So let's keep going here. So, there's one more, the most important.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
I know. Lindsay, what are you doing?
No.
Okay. Okay, so this is the last rookie mistake, guys. That again, I can honestly tell you, I have seen these mistakes thousands of times. All right. So don't waste your time. Okay. First of all, how do we not do this? Well, you need to use your time wisely. You need to get balanced practice. Okay. Keep in mind, IELTS is an English proficiency test. That means it's testing your level of English. Can you do well if you have a low level of English? No. But on that note, can you do well if you don't practice the exam and you don't know anything about the exam? Of course not. So you need both. If you guys listen to the podcast, you know that I love taking notes. I am a very organized person. So one of the advantages, one of the things I like the most about our course is our roadmap. A 30-day, a 60-day plan that tells you exactly how to spend your hours every day preparing, getting your English better. Yes, making your English improve, which is for all of your life, right? Not just the test, but also how to improve your testing skills. So, guys, you do need both. Also, you can't teach yourself what you don't know. Okay, guys, have you been working with IELTS for a decade? No. Do you have all the answers and all the strategies and know everything about the test? No. Therefore, if you just go through the Cambridge practice test book, you're not learning anything. In fact, you're hurting yourself because you're just practicing doing things wrong, right? So it's like it's making it worse. So just keep in mind, guys, I mean, you can improve your English by yourself, okay? You can. You totally can. You can find things by yourself. But if you're taking the IELTS exam, like, you need someone to teach you about the exam, you know, and that's, you know, it's something for you to invest your time in. Okay. So keep that in mind. When you are looking for someone to help you, make sure you research the course, the teacher, the tutor before you actually pay any money. Okay. I've unfortunately taught with some people who said they were IELTS teachers. They were not. Like, and then, you know, these students come to me like, well, this other teacher told me to do this on the writing test. And then I have to fix all these mistakes that another teacher brought in. So, this is the biggest waste of time you could possibly do. Okay. Is to like invest your time and money with someone who maybe is affordable. Okay. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, $5 an hour. Yeah, I'm going to study with this person. Okay. But does that person have the education and the experience to help you? Probably not. Not if they're charging $5 an hour, they don't. So like, okay. Like, again, you guys are smart. You guys are adults. This is kind of common sense stuff here that I'm reminding you of. So just something to think about for you guys. And lastly, and I'm repeating this, I've said this in the reading thing too, spend time learning the correct strategies for the test. But don't stop there. That's not enough. You then have to practice them. So you need lessons, you need practice materials, you need practice tests. So, you know, the best investment is to get that in a package. Okay. So you have the teacher, the practice, the materials all together. Okay. I mean, you could try and cobble it together somehow by yourself, but that would be really hard. So learn from someone who knows and then practice. Okay. That's my message.
Absolutely. I like that, Jessica. It's true. I mean, sorry, that just got really small. Okay. It's true. I mean, when it comes to this exam, we're talking about our futures, right? We're talking about what we want to do after we take the exam. So guys, we need to be willing to invest a little bit of time and sometimes in some cases, a little bit of money. So to talk about that, guys, we are not sure exactly why you came today. You know, maybe you're not sure where to begin, right? So maybe you don't have the strategies or the study plan. And, you know, maybe you're busy. Your life is busy. Jessica, how often do we get this email from students, right? I have 3 kids.
I know, so often.
All the time, right, Jessica? I mean, I have 3 kids, I have a job, I have a husband or a wife, and I just don't have the time to prepare. Well, in that case, guys, you really need a plan to be able to do that. And maybe, I think this is the worst case scenario, but this is really good, guys. If you've taken the exam 2 or 3 times and you're frustrated, we feel your pain, right? We see this a lot. Go ahead.
Guys, this is an expensive test, okay? Like we know this is an expensive test. So think of it this way, okay? If you do not prepare and you just spend the money to take the test, you are wasting that $200 something, okay? Instead, take that money, invest it in a course, invest it in a plan that you're going to learn from. And then when you do take the exam, you'll do well. Okay, so nowhere in that scenario are you wasting money. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think that when we're saving our money and assuming that we'll have to take it many times, we're not really putting a full investment into ourselves. It's like we're second guessing ourselves. We're second guessing that we can actually get those strategies and move forward. Guys, have confidence in yourself and know that if you have the right strategies, you can get over this hurdle that you have in your life right now. Because again, IELTS is a hurdle, right? I mean, I love this photo, Jessica. What do you think about this? I mean, does this describe?
I love it. Yeah, I did hurdles in high school. Actually, I ran. I have scars. Cool. I have scars on my knees to prove it. So, yeah. I mean, literally, hurdles are not easy to jump over, right? And it's like that's a tough event. So it's the same in your life, guys. Like the IELTS is just this thing standing in front of you. It's between you and your goals, your dreams. You're moving abroad, studying, getting an awesome job. So you just have to learn how to correctly go over it, like how to meet the challenge.
Exactly, guys. And we have a really good way for you to do that. So stick around, keep sticking around for the webinar, and let's go into it a little bit. Jessica. So, Jessica, we know that you've been in the IELTS field for 10 years. And in the beginning, you didn't have a system to teach students, right? You
Yeah,
didn't have a set of
of course not.
strategies. And what was that
Yes.
like? What was that like teaching students without a comprehensive, clear system or strategies? What was that like for you and for your students?
It wasted a lot of time because I would like approach everything like piece by piece, you know, because I didn't know the whole exam yet. So if, you know, the first question type was multiple choice, I would try and develop like a multiple choice strategy. And then if the next question was, you know, sentence completion, I would start all over again with new sentence completion questions. I would change my mind sometimes because I would think, oh, well, that doesn't work. Let's try this. And it was too much to teach. It was too much to learn. And it was, you know, I am of the opinion that no matter what you're doing, the simple way is the best way. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's true here also. So that's why over the years, you know, maybe I started with a 6-step plan for approaching writing task 2. That is now down to 3 steps. You know what I mean? I started with, 5 steps for this question type and 6 steps for this question type, when really I could summarize all the question types, 3 steps. It's like everything is just way more simple now. And I could, because I've done the test so many times, like I've looked at so many IELTS exams, I could tell you what to expect. Whereas before, I didn't know what to expect, you know, like I don't know what they're going to throw at you. And I think the hardest thing for me was writing task 1, because before IELTS, I never had to write about a graph. Like I studied applied linguistics. Okay. I'm all about language. I never did, statistics and stuff. So I was a completely, I did not know anything about writing task 1. So that was another thing that over time, I developed a very, very simple 3-step system that can help you answer every task 1 question. Every single task 1 question is just, you approach it the same exact way. I mean, it saves so much time, and you can use it for every question. So
absolutely. And so for your students, Jessica, what was it like for them? I mean, without a system, it's hard, right? We go in there and we're kind of lost. But after you had developed your systems, I mean, how did your students do when they went into that exam and they had your simple and kind of powerful strategies? How did the results change?
Well, they were much more confident going into the exam, for sure, than before, because they had practiced so much and they'd gotten good grades in the practice. And so often after the exam, they would come back and they would say, oh my gosh, you know what? You know what we talked about last week? You know that question, that exact same question was on the test. Or that vocabulary we practiced last week? I saw that in reading passage 1. Like that's some of the coolest feedback. But I know what you guys want are high scores, and that is also feedback that I get. And that's happened just from people listening to the podcast. That people have improved, have gotten that 7.5, which 7.5, dear God, that's hard to get. So this is great feedback from students. All throughout my years in Taiwan and the States, I've helped students get that 7, get what they need to go to the higher level universities. So definite good feedback.
I like that. So you've given them the more direct route to their dreams, right? You've given them the opportunity to get to what they want to do in their lives quicker and more efficiently. So that's valuable, Jessica. I think and you developed it over 10 years. So it's not something that so again, guys, if you're working with a teacher who has even, only just a year or 2 of experience with IELTS, second guess that choice, because you really need someone who's honed their systems over years and years. So, all right, let's keep going here. So guys, as we've said, there are 2 ways to do IELTS, right? There's the slow lane right here on the left. We have in a what we call a clunker, right? There's the slow way to do it. Right. And the slow way, Jessica, is without a system, without strategies, without a study plan, and without a qualified professional. Just doing it by yourself, maybe with the Cambridge books in your room. And honestly, guys, you really don't know if you're doing it right. And that position is a scary place to be in. And we don't want any of you guys to be in that position. And over here on the right, there's a better way, guys. There's a faster way. Because again, it's all about your dreams and what you're trying to do. Jessica, anything to add to this little diagram here? I love this. We have
I think, the slow way, the clunker car, the preparing without help. I would go even further to say that's not slow. That's just going nowhere. That car doesn't have any gas. Like, it's not moving. So
right.
Yeah, you guys you need some help, and you need, the best advice. And that's why you listen to the podcast.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And the podcast is, guys, it's a good starting point, but most people can't use the podcast to get the band score they need. We're going to be totally honest. We give you tips and tricks, but again, it's the tips and tricks, and those tips and tricks are just a starting point. They're just a little taste to get you on the right track. And then, as we've said, you got to take that and go deeper with some practice.
So think of it as like a first step, right? When I'm teaching, the teaching principles that I follow are teach it and use it, right? So in the podcast, we're just teaching you, but you're not actually getting the opportunity to use it. So that's why in a course, the course that we design more specifically, the first step is to teach it. I give you a video lecture, and then you use it. You get exercises that practice each specific skill, and then you apply it to the test. So it's these three steps of learning, practicing, and using the information that'll help you, on test day.
Yeah, I like that. So if you guys are just using the podcast to prepare, you've got step 1, but you've got a few other steps to continue with. And we're going to show you exactly how you can do that with us right now. Okay, guys, so what we have for you today, we have the 3 Keys IELTS Success System, and this is what we've put together. Jessica has taken her 10 years of experience in this field, and she's put them, as we've said, into simple strategies and systems, a daily learning plan and guidance for you guys. We have a 30 and a 60-day learning plan to help you guys really, really get to that goal quicker. Okay, so this is called the 3 Keys IELTS Success System. Jessica, why do we call it the 3 Keys IELTS Success System?
Yeah, so as I hinted at a little bit before, guys, every part of the test, I have developed 3 steps, 3 keys, 3 the 3 steps you need to take in order to do well on the test. So as we said, the simple, the better. So if you look at our motto there for our course, simplify, practice, succeed. That's exactly what we're doing, okay? I'm giving you the best advice for how to do well on every section of the test in 3 simple steps. And then you practice those 3 steps, and then you follow our roadmap and you succeed on the test, okay? So the simpler, the better. I don't want to waste your guys' time. I want you to have the information you need to do well on the test. So, if you go into a classroom, that teacher is paid for an hour, okay? Or 3 hours, whatever. And the teacher has to fill time. And every teacher does it. They fill time with things you guys don't actually need. Dirty little secret, but it's true. So with an online, course like this, I don't have to fill time. I only give you guys the information that you must have in order to pass the exam. So, yeah.
That's
awesome.
A good point. Yeah, guys, if you're investing your money in a large IELTS school, just keep in mind, as Jessica just said, your teacher is being paid to fill that time. And our goal is exactly the opposite. We're trying to cut off the time, to reduce your time so that you can get to your goal as quickly as possible. But we're not just going to sit here and talk about the course ourselves. We actually have some real students who have been in this course, who are currently in this course, and they want to tell you guys about their experience here, right? So Jessica, could you read this testimonial out loud for us? This is from Fatima from Saudi Arabia, one of our best students, and she is just awesome.
She is. I've spoken with her on Facebook. That's the other cool thing about our course, guys, is you get to talk to Lindsay and I like one-on-one on Facebook. There's a special group. You could talk to the other students. And I love it. I love answering questions. Yeah, anyway. Okay. So Fatima says, before I started 3 Keys IELTS, my problem was that I didn't have a plan to study and I needed simple tips to follow when I studied. I felt lost, and I think a lot of people feel that way. Now that I have been using the course, I feel confident and relaxed. It is helping me because it is well prepared with a balanced study plan and easy strategies to remember. I would recommend it to anyone who has gotten lost when it comes to preparing for the exam and who wants to be more relaxed and confident. That is the best.
That's awesome.
Like, oh, that's awesome. That is exactly what I want to happen. That makes me so happy.
That's exactly what we want. And you know, we love it because we love our students who invest in their own success, right? And I think that this part that I'm highlighting here is the key, right? The ability to feel confident in the fact that what you're doing is the right thing to do. Guys, it's hard enough to prepare for this exam, but you don't need the added stress of not knowing if you're actually doing the right kind of preparation.
Right.
When you get into a course like this, all you need to do is focus on just doing the work that we tell you to do, that Jessica has created, and the video lessons and the practice exercises and the bonuses. But we're going to hear a little bit more about that in just a second. But let's go to one more student story. So we have Sherifat Ola from Nigeria, and she is also in our course. She joined a few weeks ago. And Jessica, would you read this one too for us?
Yeah, sure. Before I started 3 Keys IELTS, my major weakness was the listening module. Ooh, a lot of students can identify with that.
Yeah.
And not getting a balance on how to manage all the modules efficiently. I felt overwhelmed and almost given up trying. Oh, how sad. Now that I have been using the course, I feel more confident. There's that confidence again. Yeah. Knowing that I have the support of the very best in the field. Oh, thank you. They welcome my questions and always ensure that any concerns are dealt with promptly. This is very rare. Yes, I just had a conversation with Sherifat yesterday. I would recommend it to anyone who is aspiring to sit IELTS and aiming for a minimum of band 7. Ah, lovely. That's fantastic.
So nice. So nice. We're happy to hear this, right? And if you guys, again, what I'm highlighting here, if you guys are feeling overwhelmed and if you're about to give up, I mean, that again is a scary place to be, and you don't need to give up. Don't give up on your dreams, guys.
That makes me sad.
That makes us sad. That's why we are here, guys. That's why we're asking you to consider this, because we want to help you. We have the way to do it, and we want to help you guys out. So let's keep talking a little bit about this. So when you join the 3 Keys IELTS Success System, here's what you get. You get your 30 or 60-day study plan. And I think this is, as you said earlier, Jessica, I think this might be one of the best parts of the course, because again, you can put your worries behind you and you just follow that study plan to the T exactly, and you will get what you need. Jessica, what else do we offer in the course?
Yeah, first, let me just say that I've never seen a study plan like ours offered in any other course or class for that matter. I mean, this is very unique to us. Also, as we said, you get that 3-step strategy system for every section, and you get examples for specific question types, and you are shown how the 3 steps work and then given lots of practice. So that is, again, unique to our course.
Exactly.
So after you learn, you get that step-by-step practice exercise for each step. I mean, I really want to make things simple for you guys. So you practice these skills one by one before you put them together. That's, it's a comfortable, efficient way to learn, and you're not wasting your time. So after you go through all the exercises, then you have 2 practice tests, which are the same level of what you'll see on test day. Okay, this is exactly the language, the level, the question types that you're going to see on test day. And also, this is huge, guys. You get to be in a Facebook group with Lindsay and I, and to ask us questions directly. So if there's anything you're unsure of as you go through the course, ask us. Other students can help you. We can help you directly. I think
that's right.
Okay, no other course in the world does that. I'll just, seriously.
Yeah, you're right, Jessica. I mean, I think that's important, guys. We are starting to receive a lot of questions, guys, from podcast listeners, but the reality is that we don't have time to answer your questions. But if you're in our course, that is our top priority, right? So some of our listeners today are actually in our course, and they know that the Facebook group is our first priority to answer your questions in our course. We do use some of your questions as podcast topics, but that might be next month. That might be in a few months, and your exam may have already passed. So there's no guarantee that you'll get an answer unless you join our course. That's really the reality, guys. We're busy. We want to help you, but our priority is our students.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, gosh, think about any other IELTS course that you see online. Like, do you get to actually talk to the person that made it? Like, no,
Rarely.
Definitely not. Like,
yeah, that's right, Jessica. That's a good point. I mean, that's really, really important. So guys, but I have a feeling that maybe some of you are wondering, you're worried that it won't work for you, right? You're wondering, okay, this sounds great, but what if it doesn't work for me? Well, guys, we believe in this so strongly that we've put a score increase guarantee on this. And that means that we guarantee that you will see an increase in your score in any of the 4 skills. Or you can bring us your scores and you can show us that you've done the work in the course, and you will get your money back if you don't get that score increase. I think that's pretty powerful. What do you think, Jessica?
No, that's amazing. Again, I don't think you're going to see this in any other course, guys, but this is how much we believe in this course and how special it is to us. We're not doing this because some company hired us.
That's
okay?
right.
This is our project, and we are answering your questions personally. This is not just some, person from a random place that you're never gonna hear from again, just writing a passage online or something. I mean, this is the closest you're gonna get to a classroom environment. Without actually being in a classroom.
That's right. So guys, when you're in our course, you can rest assured that your score will increase if you do the work. You of course need to put in the time, and it's not a small amount of time, guys. You've got to work hard with this, but at least you know that you're doing the right things with that time, because we know you're busy. You have a couple of kids, you have a husband or a wife, and you have a job, and we know you guys are struggling with that situation. So very good, guys. All right. So we want to encourage you guys to go ahead and grab our course. But for the people on the webinar today, you guys are going to get a special deal. You're going to get $20 off the price of the course, only for webinar attendees today. So to get that, guys, you want to go to allearsenglish.com/20. That's TWENTY. And when you get there, you're going to get to a registration page that looks like this. Guys, you're going to type in your credit card information, and then you're going to type in the coupon code MISTAKES, MISTAKES. And that's how we know that you've been here on this webinar. Again, this is not available for anyone else. It's only available for you guys. You'll get $20 off the normal course price. And once you sign up, you're going to get instant access with your login to the 3 Keys IELTS Success System. And this is what it looks like. Once you get inside, you have your menu items. Everything that you need to pass the exam is right here, guys. Again, you get instant access. You don't need to wait around. And here is Jessica on the video lesson for the 3 laws of listening, the first lesson. She's going to deliver the strategies to you. She's going to teach you and guide you and show you those strategies that you need. So you could actually get started within the next 30 minutes if you are ready to change your plan and move in the right direction. Right, Jessica?
That's so cool. That's so cool that you could be in this webinar with us, and so soon, right away, you could start the course. You could start improving your score right now. That's awesome.
I know. That's really cool, because when you sign up for a course at a school or some institution, of course you have to sign up, wait until next month, or you have to fly to New York, fly to London. No,
right.
You guys can sign on right now and go ahead and get started. But there's something even cooler, guys. So this is a really special offer that only 7 people are going to get this offer. And I want to remind you guys, we've had more than 100 people on this webinar today. And if you are one of the first 7 people to register for our course, you're going to get a free 15-minute strategy session with Jessica on Skype for free. And that's a super valuable opportunity. You're going to get to meet with Jessica on Skype. Jessica, what can they do with you during that 15-minute strategy session?
Okay, so it's up to you guys. Whatever you feel weakest in on the test, you can ask me questions. You can ask for a short lesson, a 15-minute lesson on something you don't understand, like matching headings to paragraphs, something very specific. Or you could write an essay and ask for my feedback on your score. That is really beneficial. Or we could do a short speaking test practice, and then I could again give you feedback on the score you would get and how to improve it to a 7. So I think, I would recommend doing the speaking or writing. I think that's the most for your money. Well, it's free, but I think that's the best use of the 15 minutes with me is, just specific tips on how to improve those scores.
Yeah, and this is very rare. Jessica does not meet on Skype for free with anyone. So guys, the first 7 people to get this. So I would really encourage you right now to go to allearsenglish.com/20 to get both your $20 off the course price and to grab your free 15-minute strategy session, because only the first 7 people are actually going to get that, guys. All right, so now we want to take your questions, guys. So don't be shy. Go ahead and send me an email right now. We're going to wait a few minutes here and just hang out because we know that there's a delay on this webinar, right, Jessica? And we're going to take your questions, guys. We're going to try to answer a few questions. So go ahead and send that email to lindsay@allearsenglish.com and let us know your questions. And guys, remember, if you hang around until the end of the Q&A, you're going to get this special free gift that's available for the cool people that stick around.
And it's well worth it, guys. This is something that's not included in the course all the time for everybody. So so stick around for that, guys. It's just one more resource to help you in your preparation. Lindsay and we didn't start out with this idea, to have this huge IELTS machine that we're developing. I was just gonna be on the podcast once a week or something,
right? That's right.
So this when we discovered how well we work together and how creative we could be working on these projects together, just our ideas haven't stopped in you said 9 months, and we're starting our YouTube channel, and there's just so many amazing resources that we are creating to give you guys and have created in the course that we're so proud of. And it's just, I don't know, it's super awesome. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done.
Yeah, we love helping you guys because, again, we know that it goes back to the dream. I mean, I keep saying this, but, I wonder what it feels like, Jessica, to have this hurdle in front of you. And, I know I've had a lot of dreams that I've had to work towards, and they've never had an exam in front of them, but they've had other situations, other quote unquote tests, figurative tests that I've had to pass. And, and I really just tried to put my head down as much as I could. And it always paid off in the end, guys. But take your dreams seriously, because we know that if this exam doesn't work out for you, what happens, right? How do we move forward with our career, right?
Right. I mean, if you just focus on the test too much, I think that leads to more panic also. If you keep in mind that you do have something greater, something better waiting for you, I think that could be more of a comfort. That you really do have a reason to do well, and you can. Because obviously, if you're at this level, you're at this stage in your life, you have already done well. You are already looking at universities or looking at immigration. So you have already done a lot in your life to make it this far. So there's no reason why you can't do this,
Absolutely. Don't assume you can't do it. Don't start with that mentality that you can't, right? Start with the mentality that you can, and then find the right way to do it, whether that's through our course, which we believe it is. But if it's not for you, then find another way. We just want you guys to reach your goals. You got to get there, and you can't stop until you're there. Absolutely. So I'm going through my phone today now, Jessica, to see if I can find any questions. Guys, please go ahead and send in your questions. We know that there's a delay, so we may need to wait a few more minutes here to get your questions. Let's see.
I was walking through a test center in Portland the other day, and there I saw some advertisements for an IELTS course in the language school, and I think it was, it was 4 weeks, so it was less than a month. It was less than a month of class, and I think the class happened twice a week. Okay, so that's 8 classes. And they were charging, I think, $500, something just like crazy amount of money for, less than 10 classes, with a teacher who I know for certain does not have a lot of IELTS experience. So,
oh no,
I know. And, yeah, just
and that's
such
hard.
funny.
Yeah, that's really scary, Jessica, because with schools, I mean, we assume that the school has prepared the teacher well, but it's not always the case. And so we need to do our own research, right? Nowadays, we have other options. We have other ways like the internet. Yeah,
like online 3 Keys IELTS, for example.
Right. So, and we have an awesome listener who's written in a question. We really appreciate these questions, guys. So we have a question from Rodrigo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Awesome, Rodrigo. So the question is, I would like to know how to behave in front of the examiner in the speaking test. I've watched some videos on the internet, and the examiners seem to be serious and not friendly. Does that really happen? Oh my gosh, he's nervous. Okay, Jessica. How do we behave in front of the examiner?
Okay, firstly, I have seen the same videos that you have. Is it Rodrigo? Is that who it is?
Rodrigo.
Yeah, and I think they're all from like 1972. They're all like super old. Okay, so most examiners are not like that. Okay, most examiners are really nice people. Okay, they're in there. They're doing a job. Okay, this is their job, and and they like it. They're usually teachers as well. So keep in mind that the examiner wants you to do well. Okay, the examiner isn't there to be mean to you, but don't be too relaxed because that can seem disrespectful. So what I recommend if you're thinking about your behavior in this is to be polite. You want to smile. You want to say thank you. You want to be very respectful towards the examiner. Do not wear a dirty old sweatshirt, okay? If it makes you feel good, wear a suit,
Nice.
Really approach this like it's an important job interview or so. How would you behave in that situation? So first of all, dress respectfully, behave respectfully, smile to show that you're nice and relaxed. Make eye contact with the examiner when you smile, but don't be overly serious either. As we said in the pronunciation, you do have to be a little relaxed to show your personality. Okay, so you need to find that balance between being polite and respectful, but also feeling confident and relaxed. So wear nice clothes, make eye contact, smile, just be nice to that examiner.
That's right. I like that. And a way that, and the key is practice, right? As many times as we can in a test-like situation. And one way to practice would be to be one of those first 7 buyers on our course and to get that opportunity to practice with Jessica, to get that balance of being formal, but being casual, right? You got to strike that balance. And the way to do it is through the practice. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. We have another. Thank you for answering that, Jessica. Good answer. And we do talk about that a lot on the podcast, don't we? We do. Yeah. So guys, check out our podcast episodes also. So Abdul from Libya has asked us how he can get his writing task corrected and graded in the next 3 weeks. Okay, so Abdul, we only work with students inside our course. So if you want to get your writing task corrected and graded from Jessica, you would need to join our course. And there is an additional fee to meet with Jessica once you're inside the course, but you will be learning our strategies. And we prefer to correct your writing if you're using our strategies, right, Jessica?
Yeah, otherwise it's a waste of time. Otherwise I'm telling you stuff that's already in the course and you should be able to learn yourself. So if you take the course, you get model answers, you get an outline of what exactly the examiner looks for and how to give the examiner those things. You see examples of every question type you might find on the exam. The writing section is the biggest part of our course because it's the most information to get across, as far as I'm concerned. So if you go through that whole thing, then you're ready to do the practice and write the best essay possible. And then I could give you advice on how to improve that, but you need somewhere to start with, which is learning about the writing exam first.
Yeah, that's good. You've got to start with the foundations, and that's how we built our course. You start with the strategy as the foundation and you build your house with strength, right? Don't build a straw house that's going to get knocked over without strategies and without systems, guys. Don't keep practicing the exam if you don't have a strategy that you're using. Whenever we get emails from students that ask for advice, I always write back and I say, what's your strategy? Are you using a strategy? If you're not, you need to go back to square one, right?
Yeah. Go back wasting your time.
You're wasting your time, and we don't like to waste time here at All Ears English and IELTS Energy, right, Jessica?
So we're busy people too,
That's right, absolutely. So we do have a question here from Asel. I'm so sorry, Asel, I cannot pronounce your last name. I'm going to try it, Zabagina. So the question is, in the writing task 1, should I write both the general overview in the beginning and in the conclusion at the end? Good question.
Yeah, really good question. I get this question a lot. So in writing task 1, the essay is so short, okay? It's 150 words. You need all those words to get across the important information about the numbers, okay? You do not need a conclusion in task 1, all right? What the first thing that most examiners look for when they look at your essay is the overall trend. So definitely put it in the introduction. You want that at the very beginning of your essay, because as soon as the examiner sees that, they know, oh, okay, it's at least a 6. All right. So you want the examiner seeing that right away. So put the overall trend in the introduction. First, you rephrase the test question, and then you give the overall trend. And then you'll learn this in the course, but basically you have 2 groups of numbers that I'll tell you how to do that in the course, but you'll have 2 groups of numbers, and that's your 150 words, okay? It's not enough words for a conclusion. In fact, if you write a conclusion, that means you probably don't have the important information that the examiner is looking for. So again, you need these 3 keys so you know how to approach the question, but in answer just to your specific question, definitely overall trend in the introduction. Do not repeat it. Do not have a conclusion.
Nice. Good answer. I like that. Thank you, Jessica. That's important, right? A lot of our listeners struggle with writing. We talk about writing quite a bit. And in the course, our writing module is very deep, right? But again, we don't waste your time. We don't waste your time. We give you the strategies that you need, but we also know that you do struggle with writing. So we give you that. We go into some depth there, way more depth than we could ever go into on the podcast or on this webinar, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So Jessica, we have another. Are you ready for another question?
I'm ready.
You're doing a good job here. Here we go. So a quick question from Suhyun Kim, I'm guessing maybe from Korea, potentially.
Yeah.
A question about the speaking test. Can I use informal words or slangs that native speakers usually use in their real conversation on the speaking test?
For sure. In part 1 and part 2, these questions are informal. Okay. So for example, what do you like to do on the weekend? What did you do last weekend? These are informal questions that if you're going to sound like a fluent native speaker, like a natural English speaker, you're going to use slang and idioms. When you do, that shows the examiner that you have a range. That gives you an automatic 7 for vocabulary. So yes, definitely use slang and idioms in part 1 and 2. Remember that part 3 is more formal. So you're going to use academic high level vocabulary in that section, but impress the examiner right away. Part 1, use some slang and idioms for sure.
Nice. I like that. Okay. And again, we do talk about that a little bit on the podcast. So, check that out on the show too, and you'll learn more in the course. And we have another question from Rodrigo. This is great. Rodrigo, we really appreciate your questions. It sounds like you're pretty motivated to get to your dream and to pass this exam. So I like to hear that. Jessica, we like to work with motivated students. Isn't that right?
Yeah, those are the only students that we want to work. I mean, geez, if you're listening to the podcast and you're investing in your future, you're motivated.
Yeah, that's right. You're motivated. So Rodrigo has asked us how long the course lasts. Well, Rodrigo, we have a 30-day or a 60-day study plan. So you can choose. So this course is mostly set up for people who are within that time window, but you asked us if we have a time limit. So there's a 6-month membership. So you have your login. Your login will be valid for 6 months. So guys, this is a good deal. You can always come back and work through the modules again if you need to, but we believe you'll get that score increase. We guarantee it, as we've said before.
Definitely.
And anything to add there, Jessica? I mean, that's it. That's how the course is set up, the 30 or the 60-day plan.
Yeah, I think the value in planning ahead, if you have more than a couple months, if you have 3 or 4 months, you could go through this course twice. I mean, you are just gonna be so prepared and so confident if you have 1 month or 6 months. This course is yours to listen to go through as many times as you want. Repeat the lessons you don't understand. Ask us questions on Facebook. Do the lesson again. It's yours. It's yours to do it for 6 months. That's amazing. But also, if your time is really short and you're panicking, oh, I should have planned ahead. I only have a month. Our course is for you also. We're still going to get you that score increase no matter if it's a month or 6 months.
I like that. Less than a month, we don't recommend it, guys. If you're 2 weeks away from your exam, listen to the podcast, try to get a few last minute tips. But guys, this course is not for you if you're 2 weeks away from your exam. Come back to us if you don't pass your exam, and you can plan with a better plan. We recommend, at least that 30 or 60-day plan. Yeah. Okay. So Rodrigo's also asked us in the private Facebook group, will I be able to have my writings examined by you? Okay. So Rodrigo, this is how it works. When you're in the private Facebook group, you can ask us your questions. You can ask us as many questions as you want, and Jessica or I will respond to them. But if you want to do a formal writing practice, you will need to submit that separately. And you can work with Jessica for a separate fee online. She'll meet with you for an hour and she'll grade your writing. But first, the point is you want to learn those strategies, right? We don't want to work with you until you've learned those strategies in our course. So you really need to put in the time by yourself first, and you'll see that that'll save you a lot of time, right, Jessica?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't ask for feedback before you've learned everything that you need to know, or else you're just wasting time and I'm repeating myself, as we've said, I'm busy, Lindsay's busy. We don't want to repeat ourselves. So that's why we made this course that you can listen to and read and practice with as many times as you want. And then when you feel confident that you understand the material, then you can write the essay. And like Lindsay said, it's just a little extra add-on there. And then you get to send your writing to me, and I will give you one-on-one personal feedback on Skype about how to improve your writing and how to get that score that you need.
Yeah, that's right. And the feedback will really be based on the strategies from the course, right? So we don't recommend that you take our course and then you get feedback from someone else, because that someone else won't know these strategies. So you want to
Yeah.
stick with Jessica and stick with our course so that you can know whether or not you're really using those strategies on your exam, on your practice writing. That's really important. And, we know that you
Exactly.
guys can put in the work to do this. So Jessica, I think we'll take one more question and then I think we should
Okay.
wrap it up, because we've been on here a long
Yeah.
time and our
Yeah.
listeners are getting tired. Okay, so here we go. We have a question from Hunar Biaziz from, not sure where he's from. That's okay. Here we go. My question is about reading. Unfortunately, with working hard on that section, I did not get more than a 5.5. I have 50 days before my exam. It doesn't look like you're
Great.
taking the IELTS exam. Are you taking the IELTS exam? Okay, let's assume you're taking the IELTS. Guys, this course is only for IELTS. This course is not for TOEFL. It's not for the Cambridge CAE exams. It's not for anything else. It's only for IELTS. Okay, so what can I do to improve from a 5.5 to a 6.5? Good question.
Okay. Well, in reading, it's again, it's a balance. So first, you need to work on your overall comprehension, improve that skill. Read newspapers, read magazines, read comic books, read something that you're interested in, because when you are interested in what you're reading, you're more likely to understand it. Okay. And that's what we want to practice, understanding what you're reading. So first, strengthen the reading skill of just get used to reading. Okay. I think one of the biggest mistakes students make is just thinking that they could learn a system for the test and then pass the reading test. But like we said, guys, you need to have a high English level too. And if you're not reading every day or almost every day for, 5 minutes at least, hopefully 10 to 20 minutes every day, you're reading in English, then you're not going to improve your reading. If you're not practicing reading, how will you improve your reading? So that's the first step. Okay. And next, honestly, you need these systems like what I'm saying. You need to practice step by step. How do you find the answers for multiple choice? How do you answer the summary completion? How do you choose keywords in matching headings to paragraphs? What is true, false, not given? Like you need an IELTS professional to explain these things very simply and very clearly so you understand, because the reading test is not easy. All right. So you do need strong reading skills. Read every day, but then you need the IELTS professional to tell you exactly the difference between the questions and how to find the answers.
Yeah, and you do that very well through the video lessons in our course. Guys, just to mention, most of this course is based on video lessons. So you'll get a chance to have that visual aspect to this. You'll get a chance to see the PowerPoints on the videos, and it's a great way to learn. So you're not reading from a textbook. You're not doing any of that. It's really online, mostly through video lessons. So I just want to answer one more quick question from Soo-hyun, who had asked us a question before. And the question was, do we provide only a speaking course? Okay, good question. Actually, right now, Soo-hyun, we provide all 4 sections in our course because we guarantee your score increase. So we want you to go ahead and strengthen your skills in all 4 sections so that you can push that score up. Okay, we have the strategies for you to do that in all 4 sections, and we don't sell the modules separately. Any thoughts there, Jessica, to add on to that?
Yeah, so not only is it divided into the listening, reading, writing, speaking, but each section, like the listening section, is then also divided into specific question types. So as I said, the simpler, the better. So I have organized this in the clearest way possible to give you the simplest strategies that you need for every section. So it is organized by sections. And there's also the anti-anxiety, anti-panic module, right? We have that 5th module to help you get like more relaxed and confident throughout your practice and on exam day. So there are 5 modules in our course actually, plus the 2 practice tests and all the practice materials. So it's going to strengthen your scores all over the place.
Yeah, that's right. And if you were only to buy one specific speaking module, you would not get all these additional benefits like the Facebook group or the bonuses. We've put it all together into one course so you can use our system that is different from any many other systems out there. So, all right, Jessica, I think we should wrap it up here.
Yeah.
And we
This has been
want to say
awesome.
this has been awesome and super fun. And we want to thank you guys for writing in your questions. I got a lot of emails here. If you have additional questions about the course, please email me this evening or over the next few days. But remember, guys, the free 15-minute strategy session is going to only the first 7 people. And it's tight, guys. We had more than 100 people in this webinar today. So you want to go ahead over to allearsenglish.com/20 and get your course now. Go ahead and register. So guys, here is your special gift. We want to say thank you for hanging around today. And this is free for everyone who stayed on the webinar until this time. So go ahead to allearsenglish.com/GIFT and you will find out how the examiner grades your writing task 1 and 2. And when you know that information, you can then use that information when you're in our course to build those skills so you can get that score you need.
This is really valuable, guys. Like I said, even, native speakers can go in there and not do well on the writing because they don't know what the examiner wants. What is the test looking for? It's very specific. Every examiner uses the same grading chart, okay? This is what all examiners are looking for. So this is necessary if you're going to do well on the writing test.
Yeah, that's huge. So guys, go on over there and get that free gift, allearsenglish.com/GIFT. And we want to say thank you so much for hanging around. Go ahead and grab your course now. Be one of the first 7, allearsenglish.com/20. And night. So let's kill this screen here and let's jump back on the webinar, both of us here. Jessica, thanks for hanging out tonight.
My pleasure. I'm just so happy that people would participate. And I can't wait to do another one. Hey, listeners, viewers, watchers, if you guys have more ideas for some webinars, let us know. Okay. Cause I really want to do more of these.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been super fun, and we're just getting our voice on the webinars here, guys. So we want to know your suggestions for topics that you want to learn about on webinars because we're going to be doing this every couple of months. So come on over, but if you guys are ready now, if you have an exam coming up in the next month or 2, go ahead and go. Jessica, let's wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and you guys are awesome. We know you're going to get the score you need, so take care,
guys. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.